Welcome back to the BoshNRoll channel. Today I'm playing Vintage, and this is me preparing for the NYSE Open, which by the time you're watching this is in the past. I did play Oath already in my NYSE prep, but you'll know me. If Oath is an option, I want to give it an even closer look than the other stuff. I know Demir Luris and Esper Luris are there. I know those decks are good. I know Jeskai PO is there. I know that deck is good. I don't need to do the work with those decks if I choose to play them. I can opt in at the last minute and just kind of trust that the community has figured out the list. And I know that things will be relatively well positioned, but that's not true for Oath. There's a lot you can do with this list, and it's a gamble whether it's going to be well positioned for that tournament or not. This is the same main deck I played on the channel a week or so ago. In real life, I played it yesterday, but movie magic, spacing them out a little bit for your viewing comfort. My feedback after that league, though, was the deck needs to respect graveyards a little bit. The other list was betting on two things. One, that Oath is already good into Dredge, and two, that Dredge will not be popular at NYSE. I believe the second thing will still be true. But I also believe that Dredge is so good, or so powerful, so fundamentally broken of a Magic deck that not respecting it at all, even if you do have a reasonable matchup, is a mistake. So I picked two cards, Ravenous Trap and Soul Guide Lantern, which buy you that turn you need to function versus Dredge, and they have game versus Underworld Breach combo, which is an actual bad matchup. There's no Tabernacle at Pendril Vale. There's no Pithing Needle. There's cards you could play that are specifically good against Bazaar Baghdad, and I don't want those. But if I can respect Bazaar while also improving a matchup that is actually poor and I expect to be reasonably popular, that seems like a good use of some slots. Outside of that, this is Oath. I got the Tinker in there. Give yourself the ability to jam on combo decks. Meet them at their own speed. Raph and Mikey cutting a turn off the clock. I gotta remember to board it out versus white decks this time. In the last video, I said this card is bad against Swords of Plowshares and Caracas, and then I forgot to board it out against White Initiative, and they actually had a Caracas in play when I flipped Raph and Mikey. Still won that game scoreboard, but that was kind of a bleed. Those are my thoughts. NYSE is a couple days away for me at the time that I'm recording this. I'm in crunch mode. Let's play some Vintage. We're on the draw in round one, and look what's happened. My opponent has already powdered a hand. We're paired straight into Dredge. My hand way too slow. I'm gonna mulligan. Ugh. Yeah, you kind of need the nuts against Dredge. I do have a Strip Mine and two Besejus in my main deck that can blow up a Bazaar. Okay, my opponent had a second round of powdering on 6 and then kept their second 6. Oh, I'm gonna mulligan. Ugh. Alright, well, this hand has problems, but the upside is there. Time Walk can buy me a turn, Stock Up could find action. I don't really want to go to 4 cards. The problem is if Dredge just keeps 6 or 7 cards, you're probably dead no matter what, because they're going to have Agree for a Force backing it up. A double Hollow one. And Chalice. Yeah, there goes my Mana Crypt. This game's basically over. Do I want to reveal anything about my deck here? They know I'm a non-Luris deck. They know I'm mulliganed. What could I reasonably do? Oh, there is no Dredger in the graveyard. Okay, that actually means I do want to, at least, I can show them I'm a blue deck here. They have Silver Smoke, Ghoul, and Icarid in the bin. Busy with all these spells, the 2 hollow ones and the Chalice, to have an actual Dredger available. This is a crush for 11. If I fetch Hedge Maze, the jig is up. My opponent knows I'm Oath. And I am dead next turn, but I do also have Time Walk to buy another turn. But without fast mana available, that's not going to matter. Like, I would have to draw Atraxa, Time Walk, draw Show and Tell, but then I won't have 3 mana. There's no... I need a mana, an A, and a B, and I don't have time to just put Oath into play. And I can't Tinker. Yeah, this Chalice of the Void cost me 4 turns of gameplay here, because I would have had 2 extra mana in play twice, or 3 times with Time Walk. That might have cost me 6 turns of gameplay. Okay. That's why Chalice of the Void is restricted. But if they have it, doesn't matter. Okay, Ravenous Trap, Soul Guide Lantern coming in. I actually don't like Bolas's Citadel versus Dredge because they do so much damage to you so quickly. Consigned to Memory is a reasonable card to have in against Dredge. And I have the option. I could Tinker for Sphinx of the Steel Wind, or I could not bother with this and cut Tinker and not have any of that. I'm not trying to Thoughtseize Dredge. Force of Negation is pretty bad. I don't need basic Island against Dredge. Do I have another cut to get this Tinker into the deck? Mental Misstep doesn't matter. Or get the Tinker bot into the deck. A Sphinx of the Steel Wind, a little awkward. Tinkering for it's great. Oathing into it when I want Atrax is kind of mid. But 6 lifelink is a lot. And they are ultimately an aggro deck. What have I miscounted? I've cut too many cards. Oh, I moved the Bolas to settle it over. Okay, so I can keep these cards or bring in another one. I just made my piles wrong. I could keep the Island. I'm not going to trip over it with Bolas' Citadel because that card's not in my deck. And that increases my keepable hands, I guess. Makes it easier to tinker. I don't even think that's true. But there's not another card I'd want in. Okay, I'll bring the Island in. Oof, okay. Oath is here. Force of Will's pretty bad against Dredge. I'm going to mulligan this. All right. I'll keep this hand. Bottom a Trop. I have the Miser Soul Guide Lantern. We'll see if it buys me the time I'm looking for. My hand needs to figure out how to do anything, though. Bizarre discarded Golgari Grave Troll and did not have follow-up thing. And I could play Oko next turn. Not excited about it. Okay, Dredge, 6. Dredge again. Discarding 3 cards. So Icarid trigger here triggers the prized amalgams. I could just bomb all this out right now. I could let Icarid hit me once. But then Icarid remains in the graveyard. Alright, I'm gonna just hit their graveyard now. If they have a second Bazaar, I'm cooked, but that's just always true. Okay, just had to take the turn off. Oath of Druids with Force backup and a Sandbagged Forbidden Orchard. They do have 6 cards in hand. Okay, here we go. We're back, baby. One good draw step to rule them all. Here's a setup Bazaar. This one just has to put stuff in the graveyard. Stinkweed Imp, Grave Troll. End of turn, I'll float a blue. Give my opponent a Spirit. And trigger Oath. Sphinx of the Steel Wind struck on the first swing. Not exactly the one we're looking for, but it's not the worst. The lifelink does matter a lot. Stock up, Force of Negation, pitching Force of Will. Interesting. Okay, so either they just drew Force of Will, or they just drew one of these blue cards, or they thought they could beat Oath. Curious. All right, well, I'm just gonna rain lifelink beaters on their head from here on out. They dredged up 2 Narcomoebas. Where'd the second Bazaar suddenly come from? How many cards did you draw? Like, why wasn't that in play already? Where did it come from? Okay. Opponent has 8 cards left in their deck. 3 Creeping Chills just triggered. That's all of them. 1 was exiled earlier. Can I gain enough light to overcome what's going on over there? Silver Smoke Ghoul, which means Prized Amalgam will come back in my end step. Everything else I can hit here has lifelink, whether it's Atraxa directly or Raph and Mikey shits out in Atraxa. Atraxa, trigger, strip mine, and can they Bazaar twice anyway? Do I care about that? There's only 1 artifact. I could strip mine and Beseiju, actually, and then they have no Bazaars. Am I winning that game? How many Icarids are there? 1, 2, 3. Taking Moxchat, I'm taking Brainstorm. Oh, wait. I can't take Strip Mine and Beseiju. Those are both lands. That's how that works. I'll take Oath because it's free money. Show and Tell's free money. And then Strip Mine versus Beseiju. Actually kind of interesting. I could also take a Scalding Tarn and hope for a Brainstorm to deliver the goods. Or that makes Brainstorm a little better. It also costs me a life if I use it, though. Alright, I will take a Strip Mine. Here's those cards. Draw for turn. Another Orchard. Oko can gain another 3 life. Right, I'm supposed to Brainstorm. I'm looking for Time Walk to make this game easy. Oof. Big whiff on that one. So the Brainstorm cards will be cleared by Oath, regardless, so I don't actually need to fetch. and I'm not finding any other action this turn. I'll put back land, fetch land. I'll play Strip Mine, play Jet, attack for 6. This puts me to 17. I've got 13 points of lifelink on defense, and then Oko. All right, cool. An extra 3 life buffer, so that was 16 points of lifelink they had to get through. The Soul Guide Lantern did matter. I won that game by 1 turn, and I was able to stumble them by 1 turn by bombing them that one time. And they didn't see the Ravenous Trap. I didn't mill over it. I didn't flip it with Atraxa. Yeah, my sideboard's not changing. Portal to Phyrexia. I mean, if they're on like a triple hollow one start, that card might do something, but mostly that's not what we're trying to do here. Okay, let's go. And if I draw or Oath into the Sphinx, I can Tinker for Soul Guide Lantern. There is the backdoor for that these Tinker builds get. And in the other combo matchups, you can Tinker for Null Rod. It doesn't have to get a thing that costs more than itself. It just usually does. This hand, way too slow. Ugh. All right, opponent kept 6. This hand, also not good. Show and tell, I'd keep it. And Strip Mine's actually fine, though. Okay, I guess I will keep this on the strength of Strip Mine. And Show and Tell's one of my best draws, so I'm not going to bottom the Atraxa. Oko does not seem important here. Bazaar, Imp, Ghoul, Hollow One, Gitaxian Probe you. There is a Force of Will, but there's not a second Bazaar. I can at least slow things down a little bit here, which I need desperately. Stinkweed Imp, Dredge, hit Icarid and Prized Amalgam. So that's more damage starting next turn. Force of Will. Okay. That gives me the ability to jam Show and Tell into my opponent's Force of Will, which I basically need to do right now. Icarid triggers Amalgam. Stinkweed Imp is the last Dredger in there. Rolled over the Grave Troll. And another Amalgam and another Icarid. It's getting bad out here. Okay. Show me Show and Tell, which still might not be good enough, but I can dream. Underground Sea to the bin. Forbidden Orchard. Way too slow. GG's. Yeah, I definitely don't agree with the theory that you just don't need Dredge Hate. Like, we just saw what happened in the 2 games where I had no Dredge Hate. And we saw what happened in the game where I did have 1 piece. I like the respect showing this matchup, especially having seen it just run me over multiple times, including the last league that I recorded with this last time, where Dredge basically did the same thing, which is their thing that they do. I guess Mulligan to the Nuts or Mulligan to Hate are the other things I could have done this game, but having the Strip Mine, it's not like I just kept a hand that had nothing. My opponent did slow Dredge 5 twice, and converted into meaningful game objects both times. And I didn't have the Force when they went for Hollow One. I drew that after. I think I would have forced Hollow One there, especially knowing I'd Strip Mine. Yeah, for sure. All right, next round. I'm excited to be a special guest for the Excalibur events Niagara Falls weekend, September 25th through 27th, 2026. This event features the pre-modern scaling 25K with $10,000 guaranteed and $5,000 added to the prize pool at 275, 350, and 450 players for a total of $25,000. Gold Border and Collector's Edition cards are legal in this tournament, and you can use up to 10 playtest cards to fill out your deck. Be sure to check the FAQ on the Excalibur website to follow their playtest card policy. This has a chance of being the biggest pre-modern event ever. Sign up now and use code BOSH for $5 off entry. I hope I'll see you there. I'm on the draw against a non-Luris deck in round 2. This hand's kind of slow, but the Oath is here. I'm going to rock with it. Oh god, we're so dead. I have to hope this is Hollowvine or something and not Dredge. Ah, good news, everyone. It is Hollowvine. You're saying there's a chance. Tinker, okay. A little more action there. Okay, Hollowvine is insanely bad against Oath. However, if my opponent's on the draw 3 cards a turn strat from the jump, that's dangerous. Like, Oath actually wants to see Hollow One and Vengevine out of this deck, not the card advantage thing. Because this is a control deck. Like, if Dredge is a combo deck, Hollowvine is a control deck, even though it sometimes plays like an aggro deck. Ugh. All right, well, that card will be trouble. Not going to fetch. Raph and Mikey. I could spend a turn Demonic Tutoring and then getting Wastelanded. What would I DT for? I think I should shove Oath into play and then use Demonic Tutor to follow up if they can answer it. They do play 12 ways to remove Oath. They have Force of Will, Force of Negation, and Force of Vigor. But if this card's in play, their deck gets really bad. Force of Negation, pitching Force of Will. That happens. Demonic for Show and Tell is probably really good here. Master of Death and Squee go back to the hand. They're also a 5 Wasteland deck, which my hand did have 4 lands in it. I can push through that a little bit, but not a lot. Yeah, this is the draw 3 cards a turn hand going nuts. Mox Pearl, actually great. Mox Pearl, Demonic Tutor. I would like Show and Tell here, I think. All right, let's go. Squeeze and Masters go back. Another Wasteland. And I understand you play 5 of them, but settle down. They stock up. Probably going to have to fetch the Hedge Maze this turn and just try to find that 3rd mana to make my hand function. Because looking over there and seeing 11 cards in their hand is obviously really stressful, but you do also have to remember that their deck is full of Basking Root Wallas and Hollow Ones and Vengevines, and those cards go somewhere. Like all 13 cards they're looking at right now can't be Force of Will. Jesus. All right. I won't be fetching. End step, discard a Root Walla. Do you actually want to cast it? You do. Okay. Mana? Wow. The aggression is there. I think they are playing correctly. It's just very difficult. All right. Gonna need to draw my Mana Crypt in the near future. They picked up 4 guys, 2 Squeeze, 2 Masters. Found a second Bazaar. Now they really kick in. Now they're drawing 5 cards a turn instead of 3. And I was already doing so well. Blazing Root Walla discarded. I know I have this Mental Misstep just sitting around, but I think that's better as a blue card or better as something I can brainstorm away than it is as countering a Blazing Root Walla. Oh my god. All right, Tinker's getting worse. Good thing that wasn't the plan anymore. Maybe they'll just bring back so many Masters of Death they die by accident or deck themselves. At this point in the game, I have to presume that my opponent's hand has at least Force Blue card in it, and then also probably they've been kicking around multiple Vengevines or Hollow Ones, and they're just setting up a combo turn where they kill me all at once. Another Basking Root Walla, the 3rd Bazaar. There's a Hollow One. Another Hollow One. Yeah, this is the moment they've been waiting for, to just deploy and get it done in 1 or 2 hits. Well, I'll play it out there. I don't think this is going to work, but now I do have the out of ripping a mana source, and they somehow don't have a Force and a blue card. So they're picking up 3 Masters of Death. We know they have a blue card if they have a Force, which we've seen 2 of the 8 they play. I bet they have it, just between us. There goes a Vengevine. Yeah, I might not even survive this turn if they have 2 Vengevines to discard. Actually, if just this one Vengevine puts it so I can't crack my fetch lands. That's all they need. 2 years ago when I went on a tear with Oath, top 8ing Eternal Weekend and winning NYSE both in the same year, that was in large part because this Hollowvine deck was so popular back then, and this matchup is pretty great in general. All right, got me. When it looks like that, it doesn't look great. Sphinx of the Steelwind comes in, Soul Guide Lantern, Ravenous Trap, Bolus of Citadel out, Force of Negation out. I do like Flusterstorm. I don't think I'm trying to dismember them. Portal to Phyrexia, I could entertain. They are trying to put some creatures into play and attack with them, and taking those creatures away is useful. Also, this doubles as graveyard hate. If I can, in my upkeep, reanimate one of their Vengevines or one of their Squeeze, then they don't have it anymore. That's just something. I think I'm good here, though. Just those 3, make that small adjustment, and get in there. Love Sphinx of the Steelwind in this matchup. Unless they have something very strange like Snapback, they actually can't answer that card. All right, mulligan, and doesn't do anything. Here we go. Mox Orchard Oath with Force backup. Keep. Bottom. I guess I bottom Tropical Island, because I could also Besage you a Bazaar. Opponent's on 5 cards. Mox. Orchard. Oath. They've got 1 Force. Do they have 2? Sick. Okay. Yeah. That's what I mean. Like game one, the specific texture of their draw, and also finding 4 Wastelands and 2 Forces, and all that coming together to take me down in a very long game. Versus you just die and there's not a thing your stupid deck can do about it. All vintage decks can win. We're all playing vintage here. They're all powerful. It's just at the structural level, who can do something like I just did versus have to work really hard for a win. I don't think I'm making any changes here. Let's go. Ooh. Okay, so we've got a Strip Mine, which is good. Forest Blue card, which is mid. Demonic Tutor, which is good. Orchard, which is bad till it's great. I think I am going to keep this and hope for the classic Bazaar mulligan low, and then I punish you. They had powdered and gone to 6 when I made my choice, and now they're down to 3. Okay, wow, they went to 3 and then powdered the 3, and then powdered the 3 again. Okay, they found 3 cards they're willing to keep. Bazaar. We've got a Vengevine, a Squee, 2 Wastelands, Force, Mindbreak Trap missing here. I mean, if the last card in their hand is Hollow One, this is some real pressure. Oh, good, it's not. All right, I will go to my turn, Strip Mine you. That's step 1. I'm taking that step, even though I just drew something that's good to do for 3 mana. Let's try to cut that off. Oh, the Malda 2 had double Bazaar. Not bad. That is a route back in. How about a Mox? Let's get something going a little faster here. Right, not this turn. I can DT for Black Lotus next turn and send it. Oh, wow. They're on the triple Bazaar, but no cards to do anything with. That's a weird twist of fate. And they might just want to start tapping those Bazaars in case they roll over some Squeeze. That seems like how I would play this. Edge Maze. Stock up. That is a blue card for my Force of Will, which means DT for Lotus Show and Tell is now online and protected. DT. And they can't force. All they can do is Mindbreak Trap, which unfortunately I am playing into, but also, whatever, I can counter it. Show and Tell, put in Atraxa, put in the 4th Bazaar, die a legend. They did put in the 4th Bazaar, awesome. Okay, yeah. I've got, all right, they don't want to play anymore. I don't even know what my Atraxa was about to look at because they conceded before I got a good look at it. Yeah, consistency over high roll, and obviously the Molda 3 from a Bazaar deck kind of unlucky, but they did have multiple Bazaars from that point, which could have made something happen. But one of the weaknesses of Oath is that other combo decks, after you do your thing, they can just kill you. Like you can have Atraxin play for 2 turns, and then they combo you out from a low life total, and you're at a high life total, and it doesn't matter. Hollowvine doesn't have that luxury. A 7/7 lifelink actually does pull the game completely out of reach very quickly. On to the next round. The BoshNRoll channel is brought to you by Tales of Adventure. TOAMagic.com has almost 100,000 unique cards in stock. They offer free track shipping on every order, plus next day or 2-day options when you have an event coming up fast. They offer on-site pickup at major Magic events throughout the US, so you're never scrambling before your tournament. Stop by their booth to buy, sell, or trade at upcoming regional championships, Magic Con, Spotlight Series, and more. I love their selection of individually scanned high-end cards that show you exactly what you're buying. And the best part is saving 5% on every order with promo code BOSH. From Ancestral Recall to Zombie Master, get what you need quickly and in one place at TOAMagic.com. Eternal lives here. I'm on the play versus a non-Luris deck. I have a turn 2 Oath with Force Protection. I'm going to keep this. Awkward I have to play the Hedge Maze first. But if my opponent Wastelands me, that's kind of the same thing as the hand that I already have. Hedge Maze. Put Trop into the bin. I don't need a 4th land here. Mishra's Workshop. Scrawly Crawly. That's a creature. Sold. Alright, Oath of Druids. And I have Force of Will to buy me 1 turn into the goods. If I draw a blue card here, alright, now I have double force. Thanks, Scrawly Crawly. I love you. Grim Monolith. I think that's okay to resolve. Tezzeret. I'll fight over that one. That untaps the Monolith. And does other stuff. Grabs win cons out of the deck. Oh no, I've been tricked. They had more mana. What will I do? Oh no. Force that one as well. One Ring's actually busted against Oath because it's also Time Walk because Oath does target. Sick. All right. Well, I mean, this is why you play Oath. Because sometimes decks just put a creature into play and die. Okay, we are it looks like we're against Raker Shops, the Tez, the Monolith. Those things all tell a story. Null Rod's very good against that deck. Citadel's interesting because they can put damage on me, and sometimes they have a pivot where they go aggro shops. And if they're on like Spheres and Wastelands, that's kind of stinky for a Bolas Citadel. But if they're just trying to race me with like Tezzeret Go or something, like if they like put me in check and then pass the turn, Bolas Citadel is the card that could get me out of it. If Flusterstorms can come out. I didn't see enough to know if they have Wastelands or not. Do I care if they do for the island? I think I can cut the island. Though I might want to leave the island in, because when I bring in 3 Null Rods, I like backing off of my rubies a little bit. Maybe I just get off of Tinker entirely versus their deck. Abrupt Decay is good against them as well. If I just want to go Sultai Control, that is a gear we can get into. Gitaxian Probe is not that important. Mental Misstep actually is good against them. Oh, if I'm cutting Tinker, I don't need the Sphinx. All right, that's another Abrupt Decay I get. Yeah, this looks like a plan. Let's go. If you're really scared, you could make room for a Mindbreak Trap in the 3rd Abrupt Decay, but I think I have a steady layer of being able to stop them and also being able to win somehow, both of which are important. Holy moly. Turn 1, Orchard, Oath, Null Rod. Keep. As long as I don't lose on turn 1, this hand's pretty nice. Ancient Tomb, Vexing Bauble. All right, that does make it a bit worse. I'll have to play through it. Okay, pass the turn. Monolith resolves. Glaring Fleshraker resolves. I think getting my Null Rod down is more important than getting my Oath down. Like, I can Oath after that. I'm going to fetch Hedge Maze here. Force of Will. That's not going to help much where I'm going. Okay, this is where I hope they don't have Null Rod. Or I hope they don't have Wasteland. Oh, wow, Spirit triggers Fleshraker. Never seen that happen in real life before. Dirty. Okay, Mana Crypt gets countered, but I do take 1, and you get a mana from the spawn. Yeah, blitzing damage over the finish line is all my opponent can do at this point. Double Fleshraker is a good way to do it, though. Mox Emerald, I take 4. Okay, yeah, I might just be dead here. So I tap Forbidden Orchard, I go to 6. Yeah, that's actually a huge beat. Attack me to 2. I just have to hope they don't have a single spell to cast, or attack me to 1. Alright, I mean, Vexing Bauble, the hero of this game. I think that's the only card in their whole deck that could have stopped them from losing on turn 1 here. But that's okay. We get a game 3 where I go first. All right, GG. That'll do. I think my plan is the same here. I just get to go first where everything's easier. Spirit triggering Fleshraker is such a beating. I wonder how many opponents in real life would notice that. That is a trigger you have to acknowledge for it to happen. Okay, on the play with Mox Orchard Oath. And I can deal with Grafdigger's Cage if they have it. Okay, keep. Is it going to be one of those matches? Or are they going to have some incredible counterplay? Or just turn 1 me? I don't have a force to help me out here. Shop. Monolith. In 1 ring, buy some time. Key. Something's happening. Tez. Do you have your time vault? Please don't. Respectfully. Just like tutor Grafdigger's Cage, cast it, and pass the turn. That would be great. All right, Grafdigger's Cage has been tutored. Cage. I don't have another one. Okay. Might have survived this one after all. Upkeep. Target you with Oath. Besage you the Cage you. Search for a basic. If you got one. I don't think you do. Yeah, we got the better lucky than good clap clap Matthias Hardstyle experience. The fucking moron unable to notice that they had the 1 out in their deck in game 2 to even have a chance. But, you know, good games. I win. On to the next round.
This video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, the easiest way to build Magic decks online. Moxfield supports over 30 formats, including Legacy and everything else you'll see on this channel. There's multiple customizations so you can interact with your deck how you want. Views such as text, grid, or stacks. And groupings like type, subtype, color, color identity, even artist. The site offers light mode, dark mode, and so much more. However you want to see your deck, Moxfield can provide it for you. Follow my Moxfield to keep up with the channel and what I'm playing in paper. I'll see you there.
I'm on the draw versus a Lurrus strategy against BoshNRoll community member Wombat Ferrari. I don't actually remember our conversations. It's been a while since I chatted with Wombat Ferrari here about Magic at all, and Vintage is not the thing we usually talk about. I am gonna keep Enforce is and Flusterstorm are good if it's Lurrus PO, and even if it's fair Lurrus. Force and Fluster both buy time. Probe tells me what's going on. I'm just looking for some action. I have an Atraxa, so I could find Show and Tell as action. Both obviously just goes right to the house. Oh no. Do I want them to have this shit? Probably not. Alright. I'm gonna fight over this, and now I don't have the Atraxa anymore. Hope you needed that. Ruby. Vault. Okay, didn't need it. Alright, well, at least I cost a mana vault being tapped for the stock up to happen. It wasn't just totally free. It's possible that forcing the stock up would have been better and my opponent's hand wouldn't have done anything after that point, but unfortunately you just have to make a guess about which step of the chain they're on. Like, did they have 6 mana in their hand and 1 stock up, or do they have 3 stock ups and 3 mana? Emerald and pass. Okay, 2 cards left over there. Robia, see what's going on. Force of Will sink into stupor. Okay, their hand is not great. We'll probably just buy Lurrus here, unless they top deck some banger. A Lurrus in the hand, which can't be cast with the mana that's showing. Whether to play Sink into Stupor as a land and maybe untap your mana vault and set up for 2 turns from now, versus hold it as a blue card for Force, is actually an interesting decision over there. Probably informed largely about whether they drew a blue card or not. Oh, alright. Time for me to be a douchebag. The opponent's down to 18 from the mana vault. Mox Opal, wow, that's such a good find right after getting strip mined. Okay, a mana that's not Forbidden Orchard would be preferable to me if I didn't have to feed my opponent win conditions while I cast stock up, but I am very likely to just cast stock up next turn. Yeah, now the strip mine looks actively bad. Just drew a bunch of mana in a row. And Lurrus is castable now, and Lurrus could play Mana Crypt. Yep, there's Lurrus. Flusterstorm looking worse every minute of my life. They didn't play the Mana Crypt. I think that's gotta just be wrong, like capital W wrong. Okay, well, that was the best draw I had. Now I could play Oath, and because they didn't play Mana Crypt, they can't pay for Fluster on their Force. And I think it's definitely right to play the Lurrus, but I think you should follow up with the Crypt. Because Lurrus gains 3 life a turn, and Mana Crypt loses 1.5 life per turn on average. It's not like you're going to die to your Crypt here. I guess if you think I might be, I don't know, a big bug, like non-Lurrus bug with Leovolts and stuff, I could understand having some amount of concern. Storm is 3 on this Flusterstorm. Shame there's only 1 mana open. Nothing could have been done about that. Okay, passing the turn. 1 card in hand. Opponent's deck has big draws. A stock up, a PO, even like a time walk into another round of big draws. There's a lot of cards that could go wrong here, but there's also a lot of air in this deck. Counter spells don't matter anymore. Mana doesn't matter anymore. The beats. Mana Crypt from the graveyard. Please just pass with like hardcast Force of Will available or something I don't care about. PO for 6 is not an experience I'm interested in having right now. Okay, Oath is triggering. Yes, use the ability. Hit Atraxa. My time walk was milled. Okay, Swords to Plowshares. I'm glad I didn't hit Raph and Mikey. That's lucky. Opportunity to fully whiff there. Avoided. Okay. Ancestral Recall. Yes, please. Beseju. That could be useful. Beseju. Oath. Emerald. Do I want the Atraxa? That leaves 1 Atraxa and 1 Raph and Mikey in my deck. Oh no, I pitched 1 earlier, so it's only Raph and Mikey in my deck. I actually can't take this Atraxa. Okay. Put Atraxa to the bottom of the deck. And Ancestral myself. Am I getting Flusterstormed? Alright. Nothing could have been done about that. Okay. Yield to all of that. Mox Emerald. I could give my opponent a Spirit to stock up here. I think if I end up with a Force of Will in my hand right now, or a Negation, the game is basically locked. We've got Force of Will, spent. But I still have 5 forces in my deck I could hit here. I could play out Boseiju as a land and avoid giving them an extra spirit. I think I will do that. Stock up. Force of Negation found. Let's go. And Black Lotus found. Do I want another stock up in my hand? Do I want another Oath in play? If I take the Mox, all right, yeah. So put these to the bottom. Mox, Oath, Hellbent opponent, get Oath, looping crazy here. Though the loop isn't as good with only one Atraxa in the deck, because I'm going to end up with Raph and Mikey, and then Atraxa, and then nothing for Raph and Mikey to poop out. 5 damage coming through. I just don't want my opponent doing anything in this spot. All right, here we go. Start the spins. Raph and Mikey here. Do I actually want to Oath a second time? I think I do, because I want the Gaia's Blessing to trigger. There it goes, because I want to find my Time Walk, which is what I'm really here for. Yeah, the spot would actually be better if I just had 4 Atraxas, but we're in the specific situation where 2 got exiled. All right, cool. There they are. It's turtle time. Okay, versus Luris P.O. Null Rods come in. This is a matchup that I would identify as poor. I don't need Basic Island. With 3 Null Rods coming in, I like cutting my Ruby. Raph and Mikey's interesting because they are a white deck, but only kind of. Like, there are Swords of Plowshares literally in the deck. And this is an extra 7/7 in a spot where 2 of my Atraxas get exiled, which might happen. I could play less than 3 Null Rods. The card is good into their deck, of course, but also if you go all in on it and they just hit 3 land drops and then start stocking up, it doesn't matter anymore. Mindbreak Trap is a non-bow with Null Rod because Null Rod makes it unlikely they cast 3 spells in a turn, but also having Mindbreak Trap around is really comforting in those early turns. Yeah, I might shave an Oath here as well. They're a deck that can play without creatures, though the Thunder Trap trainers and stuff are something. They do exist. But I have a lot more faith in Show and Tell versus this deck than I do Oath of doing what I needed to. Is this a 1 Mindbreak Trap situation, or is there another cut here? My next cut would probably be Mox Pearl, and I don't know how many artifacts I want to go down. But if the game's going to take a long time, yeah, speed is not my job here. It's their job. Okay. Let's do it like this. It's a lot of mana removed from the deck. Okay. Turn 1, Mox Oath with protection. I'm in. Or Lotus Oath. Turn 1 Oath with Orchard with protection. It's happening. I am keeping. And hands with Black Lotus in them are just so thrilling. Card is dumb. Thunder Trap Trainer. Opponent said, what is Oath? I don't care. That means I don't have to play the Orchard. I could play Scalding Tarn instead. They put a Flusterstorm in their hand. That won't help them here. Ooh, a Jet. Okay. This means I might be able to stock up too if my Oath resolves. A Tarn, Lotus, green, 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 Oath, Jet. Do I want to stock up or do I want to hold Flusterstorm into their turn? Yeah, I think stocking up is just greedy, actually. If they play exactly Portable Hole or Grafdigger's Cage here, I'm going to regret not stocking up. If they try to plow their own creature, that's something I can interact with. If they try to send a combo over top, that's something I can interact with. Trainer attack. Cracking land number 3. I hope this is a stock up or a Flame of Anor. I can just fluster and move on with my day. Or like put Luris in hand. Trying to think of what 3 mana thing I need to be worried about here. In Portable Hole with counterspell protection. Not that I could counter the Portable Hole, but we know they have Flusterstorm. That would be kind of annoying. Okay, opponent thought about it, then took no game actions. I'll just trigger Oath then. I'm not going to fetch in the end step and give them a window to do stuff. Okay, Pyroblasting your own fella. I think I would like to fluster this. Or, no, I would not, because they can just pay for it. If they had to fluster back, I'd be interested. But that's not the case. Alright, that fetch was kind of bad then. Okay, Oath does not happen then. And There's a little going away present, the Forbidden Orchard. And now knowing you have Flusterstorm, having picked up a second thing, I'm not going to tap out for stock up here. I'm going to leave 2 layers of protection. Now I actually can fight over a portable hole. Or if they have Wear Tear or Disenchant, something like that. The opponent said they had to look up Oath to make sure that play would work. And yeah, so Oath doesn't trigger at all if your opponent doesn't have more creatures than you, but then the trigger doesn't resolve if they don't have more creatures than you when it resolves. So there's many opportunities to remove all your creatures when there's an Oath around. All right, fire and a sad little stock up straight into my Fluster. Looks like I'm going to Atraxa this turn. End step, float a blue. Enjoy your 1/1. I'll enjoy my 7/7. There's no other creatures I can hit here. A Gaia's Blessing and the Time Walk did get milled, so I'm going to Blessing before I Atraxa. And Atraxa finds Tinker, Demonic Tutor, Thoughtseize, Show and Tell. This is a lot of good sorceries, actually. But Demonic Tutor is Time Walk, so I'm taking DT and then Untapped Land and Force of Negation, I guess. Yeah, pretty soft Atraxa, all things considered. Null Rod's kind of nice. Okay, Demonic for Time Walk. Unfortunately, I didn't come up with a Force of Will. It was only of negations. Oh, Time Walk resolved. We're out of here. And this is just Atraxa every turn forever. And with Time Walk looping, I might just take all the turns. But I do need some help from Gaia's Blessing for that to be true. Keep the Atraxa who can fight. Shuffle in with Blessing. Look at 10. Demonic Tutor for Time Walk is there again. Force of Will backing it up. I'll take Beseiju. We're in the loops. Yeah, the Time Walk and the Demonic Tutor being functionally Time Walk here, just doubling my outs. But I'm still drawing from a relatively heavy deck to look for specific cards. And now I'm super backed up with Force of Will and Flusterstorm. Didn't fight over this last turn. I'd be surprised if they were suddenly capable. Yep, they said GG's, and maybe they should have mauled, but the hand was good if I didn't have Oath. And I did board out an Oath. I think it was strategically and tactically a hand with like Thunder Trap into a nice setup of card advantage is fine. You're just betting on specifically the card Oath of Druids, which also, if you understand the layers of this matchup, you might think that I might not even have all 4 in my deck, which in this case is true, but also sometimes I'm going to have it, and the immediate punish occurred. On to the final round.
The BoshNRoll channel is proudly partnered with the Resleevables. In this YouTube series, hosts Patrick Sullivan and Patrick Chapin go set by set through Magic's past, leveraging their decades of experience as Pro Tour players and game designers to analyze the good, the bad, and the ugly of Magic's history. Each episode is a deep dive into the facts, mechanics, cycles, trivia, decks of the time, and historical context of the set. The hosts dig into notable cards of the era and their lasting impact today. Each set gets an award show where the hosts pick their favorite cards for categories such as Best, Worst, and Weirdest. And finally, give a letter grade for the set's overall success. Whether you want a history lesson or a nostalgia hit, The Resleevables has it at youtube.com/theresleevables.
I am on the play in the final round. Positive record locked. Bread and butter 4-1 on the line. I'm playing against Death from Above, who has not revealed a Luris. And I do associate this player with Luris Breach, but combo decks in general are his range, and I think he's also going to be at NYSE. I'm pretty sure he's regionally appropriate to be in attendance at that event. I have a turn 1 Demonic Tutor and Vampiric Tutor. Like, my hand could be 2 perfect cards for turn 2. Okay, so if I DT for Force of Will and then Vamp for Tinker, I have a protected Tinker, or I can keep myself alive and then cast Tinker. I kind of like that. Just covering the various bases here. All right, pass the turn. I could also pivot and just Vamp for Show and Tell if it's not a blue deck. Okay, end step, Vamp Tutor. I'm a little worried about specifically Flusterstorm right now. How worried about Flusterstorm am I? Enough to get away from this plan. Opponent's got 6 cards in hand. I'm good against Pyroblast. I'm good against any sort of defense. I could just get Ancestral Recall and cast that around this other stuff. All right, this is kind of the wuss play, but I am pivoting to Ancestral Recall based on the possibility of Flusterstorm from the op. Ancestral myself, Force of Negation pitching Flow State, Force of Will pitching Atraxa. Oh no, I'm definitely getting flustered here. Okay, so this is Flow State Doomsday, would be my guess. All right, I was right to play around Flusterstorm, but there was another layer. I cannot pay for all these things. And I'm going to be honest and just put my Tropical Island into play. I'm not bluffing anything, and I might need that mana next turn. I'm a deck with stock up. F6. Oh, okay. Tinker, all right. For a second, I was like, what just happened? Was there alerts I didn't see? No, Tinker happened. All right, well, you've gotten your Tinker through. Opponent had one more layer of protection than I did. And my opponent is a real combo deck, where I'm a fake one. Right, so this is not Doomsday. This is some sort of just Grixis Tinker deck. Yogwill, all right. Graveyard's not that impressive. That Warrior Revealed came off the top. Hexing Squelcher, okay. Chain of Vapor, your Mox Pearl. Are we building Storm here? Or just trying to get that off the top of the deck? Time Vault. Tinker. Oh, okay. Just Manifold Keys there. You win. Okay. A dedicated combo deck. My nemesis. On some number of Null Rods. The number might not be 3, but at least 2. Yogwill is a scary-ass card. I want some number of Mindbreak Traps in. Probably 2. I don't think I'm bringing in Graveyard Hate. I'm not pivoting off Bolus' Citadel. I suspect this is a matchup where my life total is not very important. A Island coming out. Shave the Ruby, as I've been doing. I did pitch Atraxa to Force. My opponent does know I'm Oath. Some Oath of Druids can come out, especially against the even faster combo decks. Consign to Memory has some use, countering Time Vault and stuff. Hexing Squelcher is a card we saw, though. Looked right at it. Abrupt Decay can kill Hexing Squelcher and Time Vault. Those are 2 things worth removing in various situations. Oko can answer Hexing Squelcher, can also force my opponent to have creatures by elking their things. I love Flusterstorm. I could cut Raph and Mikey. It's not blue for force. So these faster combo matchups are one of the places where Raph and Mikey is actually good because it deals 14 to them immediately when it shows up rather than having to wait 2 turns for the same damage output. Yeah, I actually think this is an important Raph and Mikey matchup. And maybe I just don't get Abrupt Decay. My opponent has Bolus' Citadel and Yogwill. I don't think they're going to Grafdigger's Cage me. Okay. I'll keep this. It's a turn 1 stock up, functionally. I don't like using Time Walk this aggressively when I'm Oath, because that's usually what you want to be doing after you have Atraxa in play. But, I mean, if I'm dead before I have Atraxa in play, why wait? Okay, this is everything I'm looking for. Force and something to show and tell. So I have Force blue card, show and tell monster. Go. And it is the Raph and Mikey who immediately beat the brakes off my opponent. Mox, Lotus. Tolarian Academy, hell yeah. This is some real vintage going on over there. I only get 1 shot with this Force. I'm going to try to use it to protect my own spell rather than defend against my opponent. But it obviously depends on what all they end up doing this turn. Null Rod, fascinating. Well, that gives me a huge place to move. I could just play this Null Rod, fuck 4 of their 5 permanents, and hopefully a lot of their deck. Force pitching Lorien. Force pitching Force. Unfortunately, Tolarian Academy is still a really broken Magic card, but if this buys me turns to move around a little bit with this show and tell, or like if the show and tell fails, it can be okay. The flow state is on. Ataxian Probe. Fear it. I got the goods. Okay. Fetched a red before passing the turn. And I'm sending it. Like, if you Pyroblast this, fine. Let's get these cards out of our hands and then carry on with our lives. I'm not waiting till I have Force and blue card to fight over that. Tolarian Academy is the natural counter to Null Rod, unfortunately, and opponent had it. So if I had just sent it on the show and tell, Flusterstorm is a card that blows me out at that point. Well, I'm not playing that. So like if I get that show and tell flustered, I'm basically dead. And I can't follow up with Null Rod because my opponent has to turn with everything available. So certainly looks like that's the way this is going anyway. Yogg will tutored for and then played. I'm F6 here. Getting buried by Tolarian Academy. And these decks are awesome. These proper combo decks. Yeah, now you mystical for Chain of Vapor and take all the turns. Or a Braid. That works too. Yep. All right. GG. Yeah, these decks are dope as hell. And they're very good against Oath. Okay. So having played a couple leagues now, I really like the addition of at least a small amount of respect for graveyard stuff. Just buying that speed bump versus dredge matters. I don't know that I like 3 Null Rod. I think that's too many. There were a couple times where my sideboard map didn't quite line up to having 3 of these. Like 2 went pretty smooth, but then there were other cards I wanted. And as we see versus the Tolarian Academy decks and the Luris Jeskai deck, even if it doesn't have Academy, it has enough mana that it can function through Null Rod. And Null Rod doesn't turn those decks off by itself. Even against Raker Shops, we lost the game where I cast Null Rod, and we won the games where I sent my combo. I think the third Null Rod can be something else. What that is, I have to think about it off camera. I have to look at the metagame and at the sideboard map and make an educated decision about that. The Raph and Mikey has held up good enough, I think. Though that one game against Luris where I just happened to flip Atraxa, it was 2 against 1. There were 2 Atraxas, 1 Raph and Mikey in the deck, and my opponent did have Swords to Plowshares in response to the Atraxa trigger. If that was Raph and Mikey, maybe that game just loses because it was this instead. Though Raph and Mikey would have been better than Atraxa if my show and tell resolved that last game against the fast combo deck. We also get Flash back in the deck. If I just turn Raph and Mikey into the 4th Atraxa, this build doesn't play Flash, which is one of the things that really unlocked when Atraxa became the go-to Oath monster. Like, I could see the 3rd sideboard Null Rod becoming this 2nd Flusterstorm from the main, or this first Thoughtseize. Like, we could sideboard Thoughtseize, main deck Fluster. The Thoughtseize being in the sideboard makes room for Flash, and we turn Raph and Mikey into Atraxa. And then that's another out to reload. I think I like the direction that's going in. And here I am doing all this work to get back to the list I was playing 2 years ago. We didn't have stock up 2 years ago, so it'll never be exactly the same, but Flash is a really big card that this current list is not playing. All right, those are my thoughts. I'll try not to plug the channel up with too many Oath leagues as I prepare for NYSE. I'm also still not locked on Oath. I just wanted to put in more work and be more informed. And every league I play, learning a lot about what I need to be doing in the format right now. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Check out the Patreon to support the channel, and I will see you next time.